Hello students, you all are warmly welcome to the YouTube channel Chemistry Teacher. Students, in this lesson we are going to talk about the IUPAC nomenclature with some examples. Students, in our earlier two videos, we looked at first the set of rules in IUPAC nomenclature. So we found that out how could we name a compound when an organic molecule is given based on its functional groups and the number of carbons they are within the chain. So how could we name that molecule? So then after we looked at few examples stood for such few molecules. So then I'm going to extend that, giving further examples here in this lesson. So let's look at furthermore some examples regarding IUPAC nomenclature. Students, I will first give you something like this. When you have this kind of functional group, what would you call that the functional group type? You need to have 3 bonds only around nitrogen. So it's an amine. It's actually a secondary amine. So the only functional group found here in the molecule is an amine. Then you know the functional group. You need to find out, you need to decide which one is the main chain, mother chain. So you could take this or this. So it's better having great number of carbon there, taking it as the mother chain. So then this is your mother chain. You need to number the carbons in the mother chain from either this end to this end or this end to that end. That's what we do, right? So first we recognize all the existing functional groups. Then after we identify the major functional group out of those all the groups. Then after we recognize the main chain. Then after we are going to number the main chain from one end to other. So we are going to number the main chain based on giving the prominence to or lower value to main functional group there. And then after it's triple double bonds. Then after maximum number of subfunctional groups there. Then after it's the longest carbon chain. So here it's having the longest carbon chain and numbering it from this end to other end. It's 1, 2, 3, 4. It's 4 carbon you find. So 4 carbon in Latin is bute. Then students, if you do not have any carbon-carbon triple bond or carbon-carbon double bond, therefore it's an alkane. So it's A. You cut the vowel sound E there, and it is an amine. So it's on second carbon you find amine. So this is the stem name, mother chain's name. Then this alkyl group, it's a methyl group. So you have it as a prefix to be given. So it is methyl. This methyl group has not attached on any carbon on the main chain. So it's on nitrogen. Therefore, for this moment, we use nitrogen as a number to the position of a number. So we call N-methyl. Our students, then this is the prefix, it is N-methyl butane 2-amine is the name. Okay, let me give you another example. When you have this kind of compound, Okay, what you need to do first is finding out the existing functional group. This is a carbon-carbon double bond, therefore an alkene. This is an amine you get. So amines are prominent than alkenes. Therefore, it's an amine. Then students, when you have finished identification of the main functional group, then you need to decide the main chain, mother chain. You need to have this main functional group on a carbon that you have in the mother chain. So, and secondly, satisfying that requirement, you need to have triple double bonds in it. So it's either this carbon or this carbon or this carbon you could take. But here only you have the double bond. Therefore, you need to consider this as your mother chain. Though you have more carbons there, though it's the longest carbon chain, we do not take that, because then you are going to miss this carbon-carbon double bond. Okay, so we need to then number the main chain as either 1, 2, 3 or 1, 2, 3. In both directions, it's 3 given on this carbon. Is very important because it's the one having the amine group. It's then second chance has to be given on the double bond. It is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 is the main chain. When you have 5 of carbon there in your main chain, it's a pen. It's pen, the 5 in Latin. Now the 5 in Latin. So then students, you have carbon-carbon double bond. So it's an alkene. Give the suffix "ene." So it's 1-ene. When it is 1, the double bond, triple bonds number, it's no need to be given, it's "ene." Then students, you need to delete this last vowel sound for the reason that it's still not ending. So it's on third carbon you have an amine. It is amine. Is the name of the stem. It's the stem name, mother chain's name. Then you have missed these. So it is you have 2 of ethyl. One is here, the other one is there. This ethyl is 2 ethyl. On second carbon you have ethyl. This ethyl is N-ethyl. It is N, 2 diethyl. Then you have a methyl, it's on nitrogen, N-methyl. Then you have 2 prefixes to be given, ethyl and methyl. So out of those, you need to consider their alphabetic order. Its E comes first, therefore this is the first, this is the second. Though you have these ditri, tetra, penta, such, their first letter is not considered, but the first letter of the prefix we consider there. So the name has to be as N, 2 dimethyl, diethyl, N methyl, pen, E3 amine. You could even say pen 1 E3 amine as well. Okay. Then students, I'm going to consider another one. So for this time, we'll take a compound like this, having an OH group. What do we call? The functional group, only functional group you have within the molecule is an alcohol. These are called alcohols. So then it's the carbon chain is this, you need to number it as 1, 2. So it's 2 carbon you have, it's 8. Then there is no any carbon-carbon double or triple bond. Therefore, it's not an alkyne any side. It's therefore an alkane. You cut the last vowel sound E, then upon alcohols the suffix given is all. Then you give one all. On first carbon you have all. When 1 is the number of the main functional group, normally we do not mention that it's all straightly. So its name is ethanol. Okay. Then students, let's go ahead as we'll give you another example. It's when you have something like this. So what are the existing functional groups there within the molecule? It's you have this. It's an alcohol. So this an alkyne. It's this. It's an amine. Okay. Out of those, alcohols are prominent than other two. This is the main functional group. Having that on the chain, it's this chain is the main chain giving the priority on the prominent group. It's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. You could number the main chain in that manner. So if you are having 5 carbon, therefore it's a pent. Then students, it's an alkyne. So on second you have 2 YNE. So we cut the vowel there E. Then we add the suffix all. It is one all. One is not mentioned when it is the main functional group. Okay, this is the name of the mother chain, stem name. Then we have missed so far this amine at fourth for amino. Now at this moment it's we do not call them amine. Amine is just a suffix. The prefix standing when amine is a subfunctional group, then the prefix standing for amine is amino. Then you have that's only right. It's we could say for amino pen 2 inol is the name. Okay. Let me give you another example. At this time, I will take a different one. I will take this kind of molecule. So it's a ketone, the functional group found. So it's 3 carbon, it's 1, 2, 3, the way you could number it. So it's 3 carbon, therefore prop. It's you do not have carbon-carbon double bond, carbon-carbon triple bond. Therefore, it's not an alkene as well as alkyne. It's an alkane. So A-N-E. So we cut the vowel sound at the end of N for the reason it's not end yet. So when you have a ketone being the main functional group, the suffix we provide is on. So it is 2-on. But students, when you have ketone, so the simplest ketone is this. So when it is propanone, it's the second carbon, the only position that you could have the ketone group. Therefore, it's not compulsory mentioning of these two at this moment. So it is propanone. Right. So let's go for another example. Students, when you have a structure like this, what would you call upon this? So it's having few functional groups. This is a ketone, this is an alcohol, this is a aldehyde, this is an amine. Out of those, ketones are prominent than others. So students, then this group, the ketone group is the prominent group. Then this is the main chain, mother chain. Then it's from this end it is 1, 2, 3. On third carbon you find the ketone. From this end it is 1, 2, 3. on third carbon. From this set it is 1, 2, 3, but you miss the double bond, therefore we do not take that as the main chain. So when you have a choice to make, it's either from this end to that or this end to that, you would number. But the second chance is given on here alkene. If you find an alkyne, the triple bond will be given with the second chance. So then here it is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So you have 5 carbon. So it's a pent. It's a pent. Then on first you have E. So it is pentene. So vowel sound is cut. Then it is 3 on. So it is pentene 3 on. So it's you could write pent 1E 3 on as well. So then students, it's when we have this amino being a subfunctional group, it's 5 amino. 5 amino. This is a chloro. It's 5 chloro. Then you have methyl on second. 2 methyl. So those are the subfunctional groups. So an alkyl group. So it's you need to treat them in the alphabetic order. This is the first, this is the second, this is the third, this is the stem. Okay, we could now name the molecule as first it's 5 amino, it's 5 chloro, all are simple, it's 2 methyl, then we add pentene 3 on is the name. Okay, then let's find out another. It's I'm taking this CH3COH. For this time it's an aldehyde group. So when you have an aldehyde group, aldehydes are prominent than alkane, alkene, alkyne, amine, alcohols and ketones. So students, it's then you have the suffix al to be given when aldehyde is the main functional group. When it is a subfunctional group, there would be 2 prefixes to be given based on the fact that whether its carbon is counted to the main chain or not. Let's find them out soon. So here it's you have 2 carbons, you don't have carbon-carbon double triple bonds, therefore it's not an alkene or alkyne, so it's an alkane. So it's 2 carbon in Latin. So it's an alkane, therefore A. So we cut the vowel sound E, then we add 1 L. So when it is 1 the main functional group's number, it's no need to mention that. So it is L. Ethanol is the name. Okay, let's find out another example. Students, it's when you have a substance like this, what would you call? It's you are having the functional groups an aldehyde, a ketone, and alkyne. Out of those, its aldehyde is the prominent, so it's 1, 2, 3, 4. The numbering has to be, and the main chain is. So students, it's you have 4 carbon in the chain. It's bute. Then it's you have on third carbon alkyne, YNE. We cut the vowel sound E. Then we add the sound L. It is 1 L. So all the times when aldehydes are the main functional groups, and when there is 1 aldehyde only, it will take the number 1. Therefore, you shouldn't mention that 1 there. So it is butyl, the stem name, main chain's name. So the subfunctional group we have not considered yet is this. It's a ketone on second carbon. So ketones, when they are subfunctional groups, they are written with the prefix oxo. Instead, 2-oxo, but-3-inat is the name. Then students, going ahead, we could find out something like CH3, CH2, C-triple-bond-N. So it's an alkyl cyanide. Then the main functional group is this cyanide. When you have a cyanide group, so being the main functional group, we give the suffix nitrile. If it is just a subfunctional group, it will give the prefix cyano. Cyanides are prominent than alkane, alkene, alkyne, amines, alcohols, ketones and aldehydes. Then it's the main functional groups. We need to number including its carbon of cyanide as 1, 2, 3. So it's an alkane, not alkene or alkyne. So students, you need to name it as with 3 carbon, it's prop. It's an alkane, it is propane, A-N-E. So we cut the vowels from E and it is on 1, it is 1-nitrile. So 1, when it is the main functional group's number, we do not mention it is propan nitrile. So is the name. So students, when you have nitrile group with other subfunctional groups, like as in this molecule, it is 1, 2, 3, 4. It is NH2, it is COH, it is CO, it is CN, it is OH, okay, Cl. I have considered many functional groups there within the same molecules. So you have aldehyde, you have ketone, you have cyanide, you have alkyl halide, alcohol, amine. Many functional groups. Out of those, cyanides, alkyl cyanides are prominent. So then you need to take this to the main chain. So then going ahead, it is this, the main carbon chain. You could go either there or there. But we are normally going there for the reason when you have COH alone, this carbon will be counted to the main chain. Still we have a prefix, suitable prefix. Then we call it formyl, the prefix. If you count this carbon to the main chain, it is using the prefix oxo. Okay, then let's number the chain. It's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. With 5 carbons, a pen. Okay, it's pen. You don't have carbon double bond, carbon triple bond. It is pent, alkane. So you cut the vowels from E at the end. So it is on first carbon you have nitrile. So nitrile. So students, you have these subfunctional groups. Amino you have on 5th carbon, then on 4th carbon you have formyl. On 2nd carbon you have hydroxy as well as chloro. Other subfunctional groups. So then A comes first, then C second, then H next, B, A, B, C, D, E, F next, then H next. So it's the 4. Is the order. So in that order, it's 5 amino, it's 2 chloro, 4 formyl, we have this another functional group is oxo. It's on third, it is 3 oxo. So out of those is the last, it's fifth one. So then it's 2 hydroxy and 3 oxo. It's a pentan nitride. So it's the name of that molecule. Okay, let's talk about another few more molecules. Students, and the next time I'm going to take a molecule having this functional group. So it is an amide group, amide. So this is an alkyne. So amides are prominent 1, 2, 3, 4. When you have an amide being the main functional group, it is amide, the suffix given. When it is a subfunctional group, we give the prefix carbomoil. So amides are prominent than even alkyl cyanides. So students, it's then you have here 4 carbon, it's bute. Then on second you have alkyne, 2 ine, we cut the vowel sound, and 1 amide. When it is 1, the main functional group's number, we do not mention that. It is amide. Bute 2 ine is the name. Okay, so I will give you something like this. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. It's NH2, CONH2. It's COH, double bond, H, CH3. It's COH, NH2, CH2, CO. So you have few functional groups there. If you have aldehyde group here, there, and if you have an alkene, if you have an amine, if you have a ketone and amide. Out of those, amides are prominent. Then students, I could number the chain as taking the prominent group to the first. It's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. And you have 7 carbons. So it's a head. Then it's an alkene. On fifth you have E. You cut the vowel sound E at the end of E. Then you give the suffix amide because it's 1 amide. That's the stem name. Then you have these functional groups, subfunctional groups. On third you have amino is the prefix to be given. Then when you have an aldehyde here, its carbon has not counted to the main chain. So there is no number on this carbon. Therefore we use formyl. It is formyl. Though this also is an aldehyde, its carbon has been counted, so we call oxo there. Then this ketone also is given with the prefix oxo. It is 2 and 7 dioxo. It's then you have 5-methyl. It's you have what else? Aminotol, oxo, tol. That's all you have. So students, it's A of amino comes first in the alphabet. Then it's you have F. Then it is M you have. last it's O you have. Though it is dioxo, we take O there. So students, then its name is 3-amino 4-formyl. It's 5-methyl. It's 2,7-dioxo. Finally, het 5-amide. You could even take this 5 here before het, right? Then it is heptinamide, 5-heptinamide. Okay. Then let's consider another one. Students, it's when you have this kind of CH3, CH2, CO, let's say Cn, we call them acid halides. You have acid halide. It's actually an acid chloride. So acid chlorides are given with the suffix oil halide, oil chloride. So prefix given when it is a subfunctional group is haloformyl, chloroformyl, fluoroformyl, bromoformyl, such. So here it is the main functional group. So we need to number the chain in the way like this. It's 3 carbon. It's prop. Out of alkene, alkyne, you do not have carbon-carbon double triple bonds. Then it's alkane. In propane, you cut the vowel sound at the end, so it is 1 oil chloride. So when it is 1, the main functional group's number, we do not mention that. It is oil space. Here you need to use a space. Chloride, the name. Okay. So then it's I will give now another one, CH3, C1. I will give it in this form as you have here, CONH2 and COCl, COBr at this time, let's say. Okay, it is acid bromide you have. It is ketone, it is alkyne, it is amide you have. Out of these, acid bromide is the prominent. So it's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. And you have 5 carbon in the chain, so it's pent. It's on third you have alkyne, YNE. So it is acid bromide, so it's 1 the number of main functional group, therefore we cut the vowel sound there, and there we drop that 1, the number of main functional group. It is then oil bromide. So is the name of this chain, mother chain. Then you have this piece, it is a carbonoil. On 5th carbon you have 5 carbonoil. Then it is 2-oxo you have, are the sub-functional groups. So these prefixes given in the order, first C in the alphabet, then next O. So this is the last. Then students, the name here is 5-carbomoil. 2-oxo, then it is pent, 3-I-oil chloride. You need to give a space there. You would take these 3 in front of this pent as well. So then it's acid halides. You have got the prominent groups there being found. So students, I will give you another example. It's when you have this kind of molecule. The functional group you have there is an ester. We call them esters. You have an ester. When you have an ester being the main functional group, you need to first mention the alkyl group attached on oxygen, saying it's alkyl, giving a space only. Then you need to write the rest of the name. So we'll check that. You have this oxygen got this alkyl group. It is methyl. Then you leave a space. Then you write all the prefixes if you have. Finally, you end it with the suffix OA. So it is 1, 2 in the main chain you have. This is the main chain, main carbon chain. It is 2 in Latin is eth. So you don't have carbon-carbon triple bond, carbon-carbon double bond, therefore it's an alkane. A, you cut the vowel sound E. Then it is on first, you have ester, so it is OA. One OA, one we normally do not give on main functional group, it is OA. So methyl ethanoate is the name standing for that. Then students, it's another one I will give you. So here you have on oxygen an ethyl group. So it is ethyl space, it is 1, 2 carbon still, it's similar to that. It is then eth in Latin, eth, it's an alkane, it's OA. Then students, it's ethyl ethanoate. Let me show you another example. It's CH3, C triple bond C, CO, CO, O, CH3. So it's you have these functional groups there. It's an ester, it's a ketone, it's an alkyne. Then students, it's you need to first mention methyl. So giving a space, then finally you need to give this. It is, you have the carbon chain being numbered in this way. It's on first carbon you have, it's the main functional group, ester. It is a pent. On third carbon you have ine. Letter E is deleted, so it's then OA. So the prefixes has to be given here. The prefixes possible, it's only one, it's 2 oxo. It's on second carbon you have oxo. So this is the name then. Okay. Then students will talk about another one as when you have this functional group, this functional group, we call it carboxylic acid. When you have carboxylic acids, we use the suffix oic space acid. When it is a subfunctional group, we use the prefix carboxy. It is this the main functional group 1, 2. You have 2 carbons. It's eth in Latin, 2 carbon. It's out of alkane, alkene, alkyne. It's not an alkene as well as alkyne. So it is an alkane, ethane. You cut the vowel sound at the end. Then you add oic space acid, the suffix. It's ethanoic acid. Ethanoic acid. Then students, it's, I will give you another example. It's this Cl. This is an acid halide. Acid halide. This is a carboxylic acid. This is an alkene. Carboxylic acids are prominent. They are. Then students, it's you have it being 1, 2, 3, 4. Then it's a bute. It's an alkene, so build T2E, cut the vowel sound E, so it's oic acid. Then you miss this. Its acid halide is the subfunctional group. So it is haloformide. At this context, it's chloroformide on fourth, 4-chloroformide. The name. So 4-chloroformide build 2-enoic acid. Those are few simple examples that we could use to explain how these rules are applied in naming compounds. Then students, you work out many such possible organic molecules nomenclature. So you try to name those organic molecules there and make it easy. See the point. It is a methodical name given or systematic name given. So it's based on the number of carbon you find there and type of functional group you find there and the point whether you have carbon-carbon double, triple bond, whether it's an alkane, alkene, alkyne and such, whether you have branches and such. So we give names accordingly. Then students, that's the end of the lesson. IUPAC nomenclature. What we have next is isomerizing. So is our next topic in next lesson. So before doing isomerizing, I will be explaining what's the unsaturation number. For the reason that it's required there when you start talking about isomerizing. So you would find why is that and how is that so. Okay students, we are going to round up here in this video, willing to meet you in our next video. Students, goodbye.